All right. What's up? Poisonberry here. This is part 3 of the thing. What we're doing right now is fixing the face. Depending on how long this takes, we're going to fix the face, maybe do SD Upscale, and then fix the face again. Hopefully I could do this all at once. So we got our base image right here, the improvement, and as you can see, there's already massive improvement all across the board with everything. So next step, let's see if we can fix the face just a little bit. It's not too bad, but I don't like there's like some weird stuff going on here. I don't like the shading on the eyes, and the lips aren't defined. The features aren't defined. It's not, it could be better. So what we're going to use for this, keep it as simple as possible. Impact Pack, simple face detailer. The links for these will be in the description, don't worry. So this one's easy. The image is literally just the base image. We don't have to do anything with, we don't have to do anything fancy with control net or anything like that. Okay, model clip, V. V, you want to use the same V for the whole process. So we're just going to do that like that. Model and clip. This, of course, comes from your stack, whichever stack you're using. Except with the face, there's a little note I want to say. If you're using LoRa's that affect things like the body, or anything that's not the face, you don't really need those. So this is the only time where I shouldn't have bypassed this. This is actually the only time where I do recommend implementing a separate stack for the model and LoRa's and even your conditioning. It's purely because of the fact that you're probably going to have a different stack over here, which means you're going to have a different clip, which means that you need to have different text and conditioning nodes, because not all models use the same text encoders. Models tend to train the text encoders usually, and that results in a different interpretation of the prompts when it goes from text to the vector conditioning we were talking about earlier. So you want to use the same prompts. We're not using any LoRa's for this, but if you did, it would just look like this. Let's say I'm doing a Tago from a Zerlane or something like that, then I would plug both of these nodes into here. It's exactly the same as you would do it any other way. Model clip, and then the clip from the LoRa would go into here, into the conditioning blocks. So we're going to bypass this because we're not actually using this right now, but it's there if you want to use it. This is actually how I usually do things. For the negative, we're just going to use the exact same negative that we have been using for the whole thing. Plug that in here. Positive, this is, like I said before, this is the only time where I actually do recommend setting up a different conditioning block. So, like, we don't need these prompts for face detailing at all. So we're just going to make a new text block. And that could probably stay the same, I think. Gonna add a couple more things. Beautifies, mascara, eyeliner, and let's try lipstick. I'm not sure if that's gonna work. And then we're gonna try and get some friendly face going on. Just with simple prompts, nothing too fancy. This isn't a prompt engineering tutorial. So those are the basics. And then there's one more thing that we actually need, which is the bounding box detector. So I said before, normally you could just drag and drop this, but it doesn't actually open up the one that I like to use. So we go to Impact Pack, Ultralytics Detector. And the bounding box that I use is the B-Box Face YOLO V8. Why? Because it sounds awesome when you say it. There's other bounding box detectors. There's one for hands. There's one for... This isn't bounding box. This is actually segment. It's different, but it's face. We need a face detector. We're doing a face detailer, so just make it as simple as possible. Drag this node here, and then for your settings, I'm not gonna go over too much because this ended up taking 20 minutes last time I did. Guide size, it ignores anything smaller than guide size. With max size, it ignores anything larger than max size if your bounding box crop factor is larger. Unless force in paint is enabled, then you leave that enabled. So, all right, this is pretty much going to be a part where I'm just like copy my settings, because this node takes a long time to go over, and I don't feel like doing it. So 256, these defaults, you could usually leave the same. The only ones you do want to change are the sampler, DDPM 2M, Keras. The reason is some of the other samplers tend to add, or not tend, they do add more noise. And specifically with faces, if it does add more noise during the sampling, you get this really bad color mismatch where the face tone doesn't match the body, and then it just looks really weird. So we leave it a DDPM 2M Keras. 0.5. 0.5 is actually pretty high, to be completely honest, when you're doing this. Like 0.4 is enough. 0.5 do if you want to like make some like actual major changes. Like if you want to change eye colors, 0.5 is good. But if you just want to enhance details, 0.4 is all right. And then usually below 0.2, like you can't even tell. It's like I can't tell. So there's like, what's the point, man? 0.4. Keep it simple. What else? Noise mask. I have no idea. What else should I explain? All right, so bounding box dilation, that is how many pixels you want to expand the detected box of the face. And then bounding box crop factor, this was actually important. So we're going to set this to 1. And what it does, the crop factor, is it determines additional context area to crop out in addition to the detected face. The reason why that's important is if it only... Did we get the bug again? All right, we got to refresh. Got the bug. So I have to reset all these generations now so we can actually see everything. All right, sorry about this. So we have crop factor of 1, which means that it's only going to in-paint the bounding box area, which you might be thinking like, yo, that's cool. That's all I want to do. I only want to change that. But the problem is it has no contextual information beyond that. So when it in-paints it, it doesn't know what the surrounding pixels are supposed to look like. So you end up getting these really hard seams. The face isn't bad. I don't like the nose though. You have really hard seams, very hard seams. This happens with force in-paint. It's common with force in-paint, and it will happen if you have a bounding box crop factor of 1. So don't use 1. The 3 is usually pretty good. But normally when you're doing this, you want to keep an eye on your console. Shit. Sorry about that. That shouldn't have popped up. So we look at the console. Is this still not working? Okay, there we go. So we look at the console, sorry. And we have some numbers right here. So detailer segment upscaler 4. This 197 by 190, that's the actual size of the face. And this crop region is what it detects, the crop region. And then this upscale, I think this has something to do with, I have no idea. I don't know. But so the only thing that you need to pay attention to right now is that the face is only it's like 200 pixels, which is not a lot. That's all right. So it's really difficult to have a fully detailed face with all the wells and bristles with only 200 pixels. So there's pretty much the size of your face, the size of the detected bounding box is going to determine how much detail you can actually shove in there. So if you keep doing it and it doesn't come out like higher quality, you might actually be limited by the physical size of what you're doing. So the next step after fixing the face is, so since we can't make it as detailed as we want because of the size, we need to make it bigger. And then we do another face detailer after that once the image is bigger, and then we can get more detail in there. So what's the time right now? We're at 8 minutes right now. I'm gonna cut it, and I'll do the next step in part 4. This is gonna be a part 4 series. All right, cool. Join me at part 4.